All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Creative Maestro. I have the honor and the privilege of being joined by Mr. Torrin Joshua, all the way from England. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, you're right. It's good to finally be on this show, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I'm so excited, and everyone's in for a treat today. So Torrin is a bit of a visual badass. I'm not gonna lie. I love the way he perceives the world visually and is able to illustrate that through his lens. So we have an amazing set of questions that I think will let everyone give some insight on Torrin. So for me personally, I get inspired by anyone like you, Torrin, who is incredibly creative and shameless and unapologetic about it. I love that. I think the
Yeah.
world needs more of that. I feel like the world would be healed a lot if people came more in tune with that element of themselves, because we all have it within us. It's really up to ourselves if
Yeah.
we're going to, you know, essentially if we're going to allow that to come out, right? Because for lack of better words, society doesn't always allow us to do that. But when did you realize that you had this ability to be like, you know what? I have this creative spirit and I'm just gonna let it out.
Well, to be honest, it's weird because I started out in music. So when I was young,
Oh,
my parents, my parents took me like piano lessons. I've always been. It was weird because I was playing piano by ear and stuff like that. So they took me
that's
to
what I
piano
was talking
lessons.
about.
Yeah, to piano lessons. I always loved playing the drums. I did saxophone, and I've been teaching myself guitar. Like I've always just had like the music part of it. Like my whole family is very much like that. But it literally wasn't until about I'd say about 2 years when I started picking up a camera. I'd say like I've always just been creative because like even when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect, which is drawing and stuff like that. So
Nice.
it's weird because when I was very young, I was very focused on creativity and all that sort of stuff. But then as I got older, like academics came into play, and it was rather just like, okay, let me do something more practical. But now it's kind of because you don't know the story. Basically, I went to apply for the next stage after high school, which is basically A levels, which I'm assuming is like college. So
Right.
when I applied, I was aiming to go and do psychology in university, but then when I applied to one of my courses, I didn't get the grade that I needed. So then I had to pick another random course. I picked film studies. So I was like, oh, let me just do this for banter, let me just try it out. And then when I did that, ended up picking up a camera, ended up loving editing, all of that sort of stuff. And
Oh,
literally just from there, I fully just got into all of this by accident, basically. And it's just crazy to think about how that happens. So it's literally just one of them ones, to be honest.
absolutely. I feel like the right
Yeah.
things just fall into place when you actively pursue a
Mm,
passion with authentic ambition. Like
yeah.
you didn't have any destination. You was like, you know what? I just want to open this door and see where this path leads me, and it led you to this, which is amazing.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
that's awesome. Because I also took
Mm.
piano lessons as well. So
Oh, serious?
I'm blessed enough to have the ability to play by ear, because I was learning
Mm.
all the classical songs. But at that age, I was like 9 or 10. I didn't really have a full appreciation of the songs that you learn. I wanted
Yeah.
to hear the songs on the
Mm.
radio that my mates and I loved. I was like, I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question. As a photographer and filmmaker, what is the first thing you think about before starting a project?
Um, I think so. At first, when I first started to get into it, it was kind of just like me and my boys would just go out and just do anything. We would just go to a spot that we thought looked cool or something like that, and we'd just, just start shooting loads of stuff. And like, if it looked cool, it looked cool. But I think now, as I'm starting to like try and create content that's a lot more, I'd say, valuable to
Hmm.
other people. I think I'm definitely the first thing I want to focus on is, okay, what's the purpose, or what's this going to actually achieve, or what am I trying to do from this, basically, rather than just kind of just doing it because it looks cool. And I think, as I'm growing now, I'm really starting to focus on storytelling rather than visuals. Just like, how can I tell a story through the things that I create? And I think that's because I came from that film studies background. I think that's what is starting to, come out a bit more now. And I think at the end of the day, like, being able to tell the story is what's going to put you out from the rest. Because a lot of people can take good photos, but like, can you actually do something great, in that sense? So I think right now it's about, you know, purpose. How is it going to provide value? And then what's the story that I can tell within it as well?
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful point, because I feel like, especially times like now, when there's a lot of social issues going on in the world that are literally unavoidable, you know, even though some people try to avoid them for whatever reason, probably a bit of cognitive dissonance, but, you know, I digress. But I feel like usually the creative spirits are able to illustrate what's essentially put a mirror up to society. And I just love that, because it forces, it doesn't force you, it just conjures it out of you. It just brings it out. So I'm not gonna just be silent. I'm gonna illustrate how I feel and display that. And what I loved about what you were talking about is that you're consciously going out of your comfort zone. So for everyone who doesn't know, I'm gonna put a link in the description to Torrin's YouTube channel. And I love the video about when you just went out and just asked random people to be your muse, essentially.
Yeah.
The comfort. An idea.
Yeah, that one was because that was my first YouTube video that I did as well. That was like my first time being in front of the lens, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just do something that's just so crazy, so jarring in that sense. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And literally in the video, you see me panicking, like I don't want to do this, all that type of stuff. But it was good. Like a lot of people like actually thought the photos came out good as well. Because I think with that as well, it's kind of I relate it to, you know, when you try and talk to a girl, but this time you got to talk to a girl and take good photos as well. So it's even worse.
Yeah, right.
It was a bit crazy.
Yeah, I think it's actually a brilliant idea for a wonderful pickup line that is also authentic. Like she'll be like, "Oh,
yeah.
you want to take my photo? You think I'm a model? Yeah, like come on."
Yeah.
So you also talked about being in front of the lens as well. When did you realize that you wanted to be in front of the lens?
Honestly, I don't. I actually don't want to be. I think you know, the last year I've really been consuming a lot of Gary V. You probably heard about him and all this type of stuff. And you know, I think in the creative industry, it's very easy to become a starving artist and all that type of stuff. And I think the reason that happens is because a lot of people don't know how to market themselves and all that type of thing there. So you know, after listening to a lot of his podcasts and just YouTube videos, I really realized the importance of like personal branding and how am I going to, why would people want to use me when they can use anyone? You know what I mean? So I think being able to showcase my personality, my drive, my passions, my values is what's gonna, you know, bring the right people in, because you know I can make links with anyone. You know, it's not that hard to network, but it's like with the right people, that's when it gets hard. So I think once people can, you know, go on my page, go on my YouTube, go to all these different areas, see who I am as an individual first, and then decide whether they want to work with me, it's going to be way more beneficial in the future, I think.
Absolutely. And I'm not gonna lie, I love Gary Vee. He's very inspiring, and he's speaking proper facts, because for the most part, I know I had to get out of my comfort zone, because I'm more of the behind the scenes kind of person as well. But now it's all of a sudden I really have to get in front of the camera. So just to introduce people to me, like you said, they just got to learn your personality, because I equate it to socializing at a party. You can't be the loner, you know, in the corner. You kind of have to, work the room and network, and just to give people just a taste of who you are. You'd be like, you know what, he's all right. Like I wouldn't mind doing a project down on, and it's really that simple in terms of networking. And I think the things that helped me do that is having, you know, mentors and people like success models to look up to. So through your journey and your progress, have there been any mentors along the way to help you, you know, take that next step up?
I'd definitely say the first mentor that I had was my film teacher, you know, because for the whole of my studies, I was doing film, and I'd be the kid that was staying back at school until 7 p.m. editing like up a film or whatever. And, you know, my film teacher would walk in and be like, why are you going to do psychology when this is a skill that you have? You know what I mean? And I think he really made me think, okay, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe I should take the leap and try this. And, you know, after he was constantly just pounding me to this, you know, just try it, just do this, you know what I mean? And I think it's really stuck with me today. And even now, like I've been out of sixth form for about 2-3 years now. But all the time, whenever I make something, I always send it to him just to be like, oh look how I'm growing and all this type of stuff. So he's definitely the first one in this sense. But then I'd say, secondly, I think my dad's definitely been like a mentor in that sense, in the way that I'd say like personality wise and character wise, and how I should, behave as an individual on social media and all that type of stuff. Like the actual values that's been instilled in me by both my parents has been ridiculous. Like it's been so strong and so positive and all this type of stuff. Like I really do appreciate, how lucky I have been to have parents that have instilled these things in me. And I think, that plus the creative mentorship from my film teachers just created this whatever I am. You know what I mean? And I think now recently I've met a new guy who is basically the CEO of the Common Sense Network, and
Nice.
he's basically recently been I'm really seeing the value that he has to offer and stuff like that. And I've been taking as much opportunity to kind of talk and just learn as much, because he's a great guy. His name's Mike Omni. So he does a lot of like business and all this sort of stuff, and it's just been a very good journey so far. It's very recent, but I definitely see potential for mentorship there and all that type of stuff.
That's awesome. And I'm insanely curious about the Common Sense Network, because first of all, I love the name. The name is so clever. And could you just tell us a little bit about that and your involvement with that as well, please? Yeah,
sure. So the Common Sense Network has been running for about 2 years now. It's basically a news network. Basically, he was created by a guy called Mike Omni, and his aim is basically to get, in the news, there's always biases, regardless whether they try and tell you that it's not. There's biases. It's either left wing, right wing, whatever. There's agendas. So his mission is to kind of get a news network that's central, that's also made by the people for the people in that sense. And it's just great. It's just great what he's doing. And in the first year, he got it's people funded. It's really, really dope what he's doing. And it was recently they reached out to me, and they're looking for a video editor and stuff. So I'm basically I've just recently come on as a video editor / producer for some of the content. So yeah, it's really early in the journey. I'm literally working on a short documentary at the moment with them. So that's definitely something that should be coming out soon. But yeah, I'm really excited to be involved in it, because it feels definitely on my, my heart as in my passion and stuff. So I think it's definitely something that I'm interested to take part in.
Absolutely. And I feel like it also gives you an opportunity to spread your wings, and then it's like go into territory, because you like as you said, once you go out of your comfort zone, then it becomes normal, right? And then you have that growth, and that's part of you going forward, and you have that confidence, you have that freedom, have that ability to illustrate your je ne sais quoi, for lack of better words. I think that's very important. Like you said, having a mentor, being able to collaborate with people you may not have ever collaborated with, I just think that's amazing. And then I also have to shout out Leon Tomlin, because Leon is the one who connected us. So I also put a link in the description. Your vlog with Leon, that was amazing as well. And you, sir, have also entered the realm of, let's say, vlogging and podcasting. How has that journey been for you?
You know what? That one's been interesting. That one's been because audio editing, audio, all of that. That's not something I'm used to at all. And I was one of them people that hated the sound of my own voice. So going out, yeah. It's so hard to listen back to the episodes and stuff. I'm getting used to it now, but the first few times it was very awkward. But again, because of Gary Vee and him saying, you got to be on everything, I was like, you know what? How can I provide value in what I'm doing? And so that's why for the podcast that I do is called the Next Generation Podcast. So I basically just have any person in any industry that is young, that is kind of, whether they're creative, musician, artist, whatever, someone that's going through the journey at the moment, how they can kind of talk about what they've gone through, any tips and tricks that they can pass on to the next generation of people. And then that's just something that I just thought, that's something I can do. And it's something that I'm living at the moment as well. And with that, I like with social media, my, aim is to showcase the process because it's so obvious these days. You know, people love to show, oh, you know, the flashy cars, all of this and all of that. But, you know, I'm really passionate about showing when it's bad. Like right now, I might not be getting jobs, but I'm still posting that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, you know, that podcast definitely resonates with that and speaks that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And it's like you said before, the grind doesn't stop. And when you're passionate about it, the grind will continue into late nights and early mornings. But that's part of the process, especially if you're passionate about what you do. And unfortunately, I just feel bad because not everyone gets to do what they're passionate about every day or have the confidence to do that. So that was one of my main inspirations for creating Creative Maestro, is to showcase people like yourself who are literally passionate and confident about their abilities in a way that can inspire us all. And I just love that. And I appreciate people like you.
No, thank you, man. I love that. I love what you're doing as well. It's very needed. It's very needed.
I appreciate that. And then as a content creator, because as Gary Vee says, you need to be everywhere. So I focus more on being on LinkedIn as well as a professional platform, but also even platforms like TikTok. So as someone who's visually, has those visual abilities and that affinity for visual expression, how do you view TikTok in that platform?
TikTok's great. TikTok's a fun app to be on. Like even the content alone is so entertaining to watch. I think as Gary Vee says, I think everyone should be on it. I'm like one of my videos. Well, the way that I use it is to showcase like photography and stuff like that. So I might do a quick edit to the music and then showcase my photography and stuff like that. And literally, I remember one day I just posted a video, like it was just nothing. It was just street photography, and then I went to work. And I pulled out my bag. I put my phone out my bag, and it was just blowing up with just all TikTok. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on? And it got around about I think about 70,000 views or something. And I was, it's just crazy how the organic reach and that can be so ridiculous compared to Instagram or YouTube and that type of stuff. So I think definitely now more than ever, people need to hop on that. Whether you're a business person, designer, whatever you are, you need to jump on that before, because I think it's definitely reaching the point where now everyone's on it. It's starting to decrease and that, so you need to hop on it as soon as possible, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, that organic reach is that explosion. I think it blows everyone's mind. So it gives people that, let's say, that dopamine or serotonin rush that you would get from if your post went viral, but you're getting it a lot quicker. And then they're not doing things like shadow banning and things like that. It's just pure creative expression, and they're allowing people to, just be themselves, which I think is pretty cool. Because I'm not really a fan of censoring people and those type of things. So it's cool that they give people the freedom and the space to be themselves. I love that.
Yeah, it's dope. It's a great app.
Absolutely. And then also, so I'm very curious by the Visions by T Productions. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So basically, when I first started, when I first thought, okay, I'm gonna actually commit to try and doing something with this visual stuff, I thought, okay, let me open a separate Instagram where I can post like my portfolio and stuff, basically. So that started off being Visuals by T. So it was literally just like a visuals page by me or whatever. But my goals have always been for something to be bigger than me. So I've always wanted to own a company and all this sort of stuff. So, after about a year of getting used to it and, working out how to get jobs and all that sort of stuff, I wanted to make the shift from an individual freelancer to a production company, basically. So that's why the shift has been made and stuff. And, it was definitely, it's interesting because, with freelancing and all that type of stuff, nothing's ever guaranteed. So it's kind of okay, how are you going to market something like that to try and actually get the jobs and stuff? So, that's going pretty well at the moment. Due to with the whole COVID and all that sort of stuff, there's been a huge halt in all of that. But I've definitely been able to kind of build my own personal brand during this time, and I think that's why I'm so beneficial so thankful for this whole situation. As much as it is like a terrible time, it's been allowed me to start opening my personal brand, which I never did before. So I guess with the BBT Productions, I'm kind of just, now I'm getting my time to kind of go back into that and growing it on the side and just seeing where that goes.
Yeah, it's true. And I appreciate the mindset and the outlook, just being positive, right? Making the old adage, making lemonade out of lemons, right? Because at the end of the day, make everything that's happening with Black Lives Matter necessary, but it could be viewed with just through a negative lens, pun absolutely intended, right? But if you choose to change that filter as an opportunity, at it as a positive, as a growing moment. Yes, now I have time to do what I've always been wanting to do. And it's, to me, it's that simple approach in life that just changed everyone's trajectory. I just honestly wish more people would view it that way, because then the world would look completely different.
How have you found like COVID and this period?
It might shock a lot of people, but I'm also in your camp. It's like, for me, the whole pandemic has been fantastic. So me personally, I'm an introvert anyway. So this gave me another excuse to be more introverted, and then also work on myself, personal brand, catch up on some editing I had to catch up on. So it's been fantastic. And then it's forced me to do the things that I've been putting off, which is amazing. So things like creating a digital product, writing a book, just things like that. It's just giving me that time and space to do that, which I appreciate.
No, definitely.
Absolutely. And then when doing a project, what would you say from this, with your experience thus far, what type of projects are your favorite to work on and collaborate on?
I think right now, I'm very, it's difficult because like I'm torn. I'm a bit torn when it comes to creating content, because a part of me always, I'm very focused on, okay, how can I help people? That comes from the psychology background. Like, I wanted my aim has always been to try and help people, speak positivity, all of that type of stuff. So it's like, I want to always try and do that in the stuff that I make, because it feels purposeful and all this type of stuff. But then there's the other side of me that just wants to just be wild and just create just funny stuff, just all of that type of things, and just explore different areas. So I think it's a mix of the both at the moment, but I think right now I've focused a lot on the meaningful content, and how can this help, how can this impact, how can this do things that's going to change someone's perspective on something. And that's definitely, it's the most fun to work on, because it feels like there's an end goal and there's something that can be changed from it. I think the comedy and the exploring different areas, that's definitely more like personal projects. So I think if I get too overwhelmed with any of the too serious stuff, I can always just be like, you know what, I'm gonna do something fun now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just, I'm really just trying to build my arsenal as strong as I can at the moment, just trying all types of different things. But definitely right now, it's definitely like sort of the purposeful, impactful, all of that type of stuff there.
Absolutely. And I can see and appreciate the balance on your YouTube as well, because you'll have, again, and also in all your social media platforms, because you'll have the things that are fun, but then you'll have something incredibly powerful with the editorial message. And I just love that. I just love the balance. You don't have to be either or. Again, it says, oh, you got to fit in this box. You can only be in this camp. You can be in that one. You can't talk to these people. You can't talk. To me, that is corny as hell and boring.
See, I think being able to do that is what makes you unique. So I think, I want people to look at me and be like, oh, this guy can do a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we can use it for this and this and this and this. And I think that's what's going to make people look at you differently and, respect your value as well.
Absolutely. I mean, as a creative, being well-rounded that strengthens your bread and butter. So it's completely necessary. You don't want to stifle yourself, because that's how you get things like creative block and things like that. And
yeah, and I think with that as well.
No, please continue.
Oh, so, yeah, I think like especially when you're very early in the days of like creating content and stuff, you want to try everything because you don't even know what you enjoy yet. You don't know what you're good at. Like I remember about a year ago, I shot a wedding and it was the worst experience of my life. Like now I know that I will never do it again. So I think if I didn't try it, I would have never known what I preferred, what I didn't like. I might have thought, yeah, let me just completely do a wedding company or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think in the early days when you ain't got a lot of people watching you and you can just kind of mess up and try everything, I'd say do that. Just go all out, go everywhere, and then eventually you'll know what you like, and then you can kind of narrow that down and really focus on that.
Absolutely. I feel like Gary says that all the time. Just this, see what works. You got to try it out or else you'll never know. And even better, as you experienced, once you experience something and you figure it's not for you, then you can just disregard it going forward and you don't have to waste time with it. It's a great lesson. And then you also mentioned psychology as well. So I feel like some of my favorite filmmakers, like Christopher Nolan, he has a very powerful psychological, approach and methodical approach to filmmaking because he's really all about the editorial message and going into the depth of each character. And I just love that. So I feel like with you and your skill set and having the psychology background, that's just going to work gangbusters. I can't wait to see what you do. Especially since that's the essence of advertising as well. So I think perhaps going forward, just a suggestion, you may be solicited for some ad work as well. And from your own perspective as a business owner, right? What would be the type of people and brands you'd be interested in collaborating with?
I think, I think definitely I would like to work with, the cliche ones, like Nike, Adidas, all them type of ones there. Those are just bucket list ones as a creative person. But I think I definitely want to kind of put my time into, again, like corporations or organizations that can, make change and stuff. I think that was something that I struggled with in the early days of BBC Productions because I really wanted to make sure I was making content for people that was doing something that was beneficial. But then obviously I also needed to make money from like normal stuff. I was torn between these two lines and it was like, okay, which way am I going to go? So I think, it's about balancing both. It is possible to do both. And I think, definitely, the Nikes, Adidas, all of that. But yeah, I think I wouldn't say I have any other particular in mind. I think it's just kind of just seeing where it goes and what I kind of start to specialize in. And then, just taking it from there. I feel like I'm definitely just in the exploration phase at the moment. I'm not trying to close myself in. I'm just trying to, just go all over the place.
Absolutely. And I mean, with your work, I feel like you're going to grow a lot of brands yourself, just grow a lot of personal brands or even smaller corporate brands, just because the way that you're able to see things and then that storytelling ability, is simply amazing. So, sir, if you're not writing a book, I strongly suggest that you just put it in the back of your mind, think about it for the future.
Surprisingly, I've always said I'm going to. Like, this is before I even did creating stuff. Like, before I even knew what I wanted to do, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write a book one day, and it's gonna just as a passing comment. But the more I live, the more I think, you know what, maybe I should think about that.
Absolutely, please do. And then, all right, so what essentially led to your YouTube journey?
Well, again, it definitely started because of like the whole Gary Vee stuff, but this one was definitely a lot more for me because it's a platform where I'm able to make longer form content that I can put up as experimenting. Like, obviously with Instagram, you've only got 60 seconds to kind of create something, but as I said, coming from a film background, I wanted to make these longer pieces of content that I could post up, and it could be part of my catalog. So I wouldn't even necessarily say I'm trying to be a YouTuber. Like if you actually check out my stuff, it's not really necessarily me, vlogging as often as other YouTubers do. But it is definitely a thing where I kind of want it to be a catalog of work, but then there's also the balance between my personality, where I'm doing these challenges like asking models or asking strangers to model, or challenges, getting sent to different places, and just all that type of stuff. So I'd say YouTube is my playground. It's my playground to just do anything and kind of just throw it up, and then eventually I can kind of just even if, who knows, I might become a YouTuber as well. But it's kind of just exploring.
Oh yeah, I definitely got that, and I definitely think you have it in your locker if you ever decide to do it. I think what you're doing now is fine. Just do it when you're inspired to do either one. But I think it's also a great way for you to, like you said, just show your catalog, just show what you can do. And I would even suggest, because of the IG's trying to be more competitive with YouTube and the long form content. So just even uploading some of the videos to IGTV and see what happens. I mean, I've seen a lot of growth just putting, let's say, longer interview clips in IGT format on IG. So you might want to look into that as well.
Yeah, I think they're trying to push that in the algorithm now, innit? Just to try and get more viewers and all that type of stuff there.
Absolutely. And then this is a question that just as soon as I saw it, I was insanely curious about it. And as you heard, I brought up Christopher Nolan. One of my favorite movies is Inception. Could you tell me about the full-time?
That's my favorite movie.
Nice.
What was the question? Sorry.
Oh yeah, the Full-Time Dreamer blog. I just thought that was an amazing idea.
Yeah. So with that's basically my personal diary, basically, but like for the world to see in it, in that sense. Part of VBT Productions, I wanted to kind of, add. So under VBT Productions, you got the podcast, you got the blog and stuff. It's like it's still a part of me, but then I want other people to get involved with that. So on that, I've got the Full-Time Dreamer blog, because that's how I see myself sometimes. I have these very big aspirations, these goals and stuff, and I wanted to kind of put it in a place where sometimes you can't always just speak these thoughts. You want to kind of articulate in a way that's written down, and a lot of people perceive it better when it's written. So that's why sometimes that's why I put it in a blog in that sense. So it's a lot of the similar ideas, I think, but it's just written down. And then even with that, like one of my good friends, she likes to write and stuff. So I even put her on board. So she has a blog on the BBT stuff where it's called Laugh Hard, Love Harder. So that's where she kind of just writes about personal development, all of that sort of stuff, and it's kind of in line with helping people and that sort of stuff, which I want to do. But it's also allowing her to have that outlet of growing at the same time, and it's definitely I think I definitely enjoy that as well, because it's something that I can look back at in like 5 years and be like, yo, that's what I was thinking at that time. And it's crazy when you actually see perspective in that sense. But I think the blog journey is definitely something that is kind of more, it's documenting the journey in that sense. Like I can say, oh, today I felt like this, or what I mean, in that sense. So I haven't been posting as often as I should be, but I'm definitely looking to get back into that once I move back to Manchester. So it should be dope.
Absolutely, because like you said, it's a proper time capsule. And at the end of the day, this to bring back psychology once again, for whatever reason, when human beings start writing down their ideas, right, or just simply recording it, so either being audio, video, or recording it by hand, there's a click in your brain that makes you understand that what you're doing, what you're creating, is a little bit more important. It's a little bit more serious, because it's worth writing down. Because again, I feel like in society they teach us not to value ourselves as much as those who are like celebrities and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you start looking at yourself at that level, like, oh, that's a peer, right? Then you're gonna perceive yourself in an entirely different way. And that's probably one of the biggest things I learned from just content creation, is just simply writing things down and understanding that what you have in your mind is worth being written down and record it, it's a total paradigm
Yeah.
shift.
That's so true as well, because it's like, when you're going back to the whole celebrity things and that sort of stuff, that was something I always thought about, like, oh, why am I doing this? And you look at these celebrities and stuff, but then you really got to think, what makes them different to you? At one point they were just a normal, ordinary human being the same way, in it. So it's like, if they can do it, why can't you? You can. So just act in a way to kind of get yourself to that spot. And I think, once you kind of are able to rewire your brain in that sense, that's when these opportunities start to get attracted to you. And even go into, writing things down. It's recently, my mom literally bought me a planner and stuff like that. And, I haven't even been able to write into it yet, because it's like, okay, it's different to type it in your phone, because like, okay, this is permanent. This is like a contract that I'm writing to myself. And you can't just backspace it like you can on your phone. So it's kind of, there is definitely a psychological thing that goes with that.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful gift. So shout out to mom, and also shout out to dad for being a mentor as well. And then I know you were also working on the Common Sense Network, but are there any other projects that we should be on the lookout for?
Oh, okay. Here's a little bit of exclusive. This is a little personal project. I'm kind of looking into sort of like clothing and stuff. So I've started kind of getting into, fashion design and all this sort of stuff. And, should I say the name of the brand? Okay, I'll say it just for you. Just
all right.
So the brand at the moment is called Truly Destined. So again, it's definitely in line with everything that I talk about and all that sort of stuff. And the reason I called it that is because, firstly, I just wanted to make my own clothes because it's just, way cheaper. But secondly, it's a thing where it's like, it'll be so sick to be able to wear something that I want to put out. So it's like, the message of being truly destined, wearing that is like a uniform, almost like saying like, look, this is, I'm adopting this. I believe this. This is who I am. I'm going to even wear it on my body. And, that's just what I believe. And it's not even a thing that I would even want to kind of make money from it or anything like that. I really just want to reach a specific audience of people that want to kind of, look down and see, okay, it's a reminder of who they are, what they want to be. And I think that would be something that's really dope. And it's just a fun little personal project that I can kind of do at the same time to kind of get away from the creative stuff as well.
That's amazing. So are you creating the designs as well?
Yeah. Because luckily, obviously doing photography and stuff, I've got Photoshop. So I'm kind of just exploring different things and how can I preach that message in clothing. And it's a puzzle. And I love that. It's making me think and, making me research a whole different area of life. So it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to develop.
Absolutely. And I feel like you have the hardest part down pat, which is creating the branding video, photo content that's going to essentially make it popular, right? Which is that's the hard. And then do you have any inspirations within the fashion industry that perhaps inspired this project?
I'd say the inspirations are more to do with the look rather than like, the ethos or anything like that. I think I definitely want to, I don't want to say unusual, but it's kind of just that, that not everyday kind of look, that kind of, you got the oversized kind of chilled out, but kind of still a bit out there. I think that really reflects what that is, because, when people think, okay, yeah, I am destined for all this sort of stuff, they are ordinary people, but they just got that little bit of twinge, which is in their brains. So it's kind of bringing that out into clothing. So I think that's why I'm definitely trying to go down that route and stuff. And it's a lot of just exploring at the moment. And, with this, I really do want to focus on branding. Like that is an area that I want to kind of look into, like marketing and branding. I don't just want to be a t-shirt brand. I want to, think of something that can have longevity and people can believe in, rather than just, wear because it looks good. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of grows.
Absolutely. Well, you're on the right path, because that's usually what makes a brand is has nothing to do with the destination. All has to do with the beginning. Why are we even here, right? Like you said, the ethos. What is the vision? What is the mission statement? That's what's gonna
Yeah.
attract people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely. And if you don't mind me asking, what part of England are you in? I remember you saying you're going back to Manchester.
Yeah. So I was born in London, but
Ah,
I moved my family moved to Coventry, so it's a small little town city next to Birmingham. If anyone knows the UK, then they'll kind of be able to work it out. But yeah, I moved to Manchester for university, so that's where I love to be at the moment. I should be going back tomorrow, so I'm excited to kind of get that big city energy back and just kind of just get on with stuff.
absolutely. I still haven't been to Manchester yet. I've been to London a few times. I actually did a study abroad course there. I was fortunate enough to live there in the summer. But
Wow.
as a
Okay.
Manchester United fan, I have to go to Manchester and Old
Oh, is
Trafford. So
it?
yeah.
Well, where were you born? Were you born in America or
Oh yeah, born in America, New Jersey.
New
So
Jersey?
like an
Right.
hour and a half south of New York City.
See, the accent just amazes me. I just love how it sounds.
Hey, likewise, the feelings mutual, right? And isn't Coventry, isn't that like a famous military base there as well?
Yeah, like during the Second World War, it got bombed. It got bombed like mad because of all the factories and that were here. So it's literally called the Coventry Blitz because the Germans just wiped it out basically. So
Yeah.
it's definitely got the history to it. Like it won City of Culture 2021. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
history here. There's a lot of meaning behind the city, but it's just too small and too dead for me to be honest. But yeah, a lot of people kind of like it down here.
Absolutely. I feel like your energy would thrive in a major city. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful decision.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So Torrin, thank you so much for making the time. Really appreciate it. This is very exciting, very fun stuff. And if there's any way in the future that I can help with any of your projects, whether it be the creative or the branding or the advertising, please let me know.
No, honestly, man, this has been like I was so excited for this call. It's just so interesting to kind of talk with someone who's doing so much, and in a different part of the world as well. Because in England it's such a isolated bubble, but obviously it's kind of it's so good to kind of just be in communication with someone that's completely in a different place of the world. So I really enjoyed this, and it's great. It's cool to see how similar our perspectives are and things as well. Even Inception, that type of things there. So
Yeah,
it's been a really cool combo.
absolutely. And thank you once again. And you enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
You too, man. It was great talking to you.
All right. Cheers.